Let's talk about the country down under. Yes, guys, in today's video, we will be talking about Australia. We have already covered Italy, Norway. If you have still not subscribed to this channel, I still do not understand what else are you looking for. We are going to cover each and every study abroad destination in detail, and we will also be making comparisons between these destinations. So, without further ado, let's directly jump into it. Life in Australia is balanced. It gives equal importance to life as well as work. The work-life balance in Australia is considered good. It's not the best out there. Why? Because there are some countries, some European countries specifically, which we have already talked about, which have the best work-life balance out there, Denmark being the best. But Australia also gives a lot of importance to life, because when I was in Australia, I still remember that offices end at 4:30. And when I say offices end at 4:30, that means offices end at 4:30. You reach home by 5. And that happens, and only 13% people end up working overtime in Australia. That's a very low number, just 10% above the OECD average, which is very good. Now, when we talk about education in Australia, it is considered really good and amongst the best across the whole world. When we talk about USA has its Ivy League, which is considered amongst the best universities in United States. When we talk about UK, it has its own Russell Group. But when we talk about Australia has its top 8, big 8 and best 8 universities. These are the list of those universities. University of Melbourne, University of Sydney and Monash being the best amongst these. Now, when we talk about all these universities, you need to know that these are very prestigious universities and have a recognition all across the world. But what's the flaw? Is there any flaw in Australian education? Yes, there is. So Australia treats its education exactly like business, because this education brings in dollars from United States, Chinese yuan and rupees from India. And this is very important for international trade. Australian economy actually depends a lot on international education. One more thing you need to know, $31 billion come from education industry, international education industry, which is set to go up till 40 billion very soon. Now, let's not talk about conspiracy theories. Let's talk about, should it affect your decision on planning to go to Australia? Yes, it should if you're planning to go to a lower end university in Australia. Why? Because they are looking for cash cows. These are cash trapped universities which require money from international students. So if you're planning to go to a lower end Australian university, I would recommend please don't. It does not make sense. The quality of education is not that good. The people around you would not be that great. Why? Because they will not be Australian students. There are so many classrooms in Australia which is absolutely no Australian student. Why does that happen? Because international students bring in dollars and they come to Australia just for the purpose of settling there. Now, if you're going to a country just for the purpose of settling there and spending so much money, I would say that's not exactly a good scheme. Otherwise, if you just want that, you can look into other options. We have already talked about many other options. This is a very expensive way of moving abroad. One more thing with these lower strata, lower end universities is that they sometimes even go ahead and waive the IELTS requirement. What happens because of that? The quality of students in your class go down. What happens because of that? When you go ahead and look for jobs with your college degree, the college that you were in actually gets defamed because of this. It has happened with so many universities that they have given out admissions to people who do not actually deserve it. At the same time, their university ranking goes down, but there are some students who are already studying there. As a result, they do not end up getting jobs there. So it is very important that when you're planning to move abroad, go to a good university. I know you sometimes move ahead and talk to a counselor, they recommend you to go to lower strata universities. Absolutely no, it's your hard-earned money. Do not waste it on a lower end university. Go to a good university, work on your grades and go to a good university. Now let's talk about the expenses in Australia. Expenses, yes, as I said, Australia is very expensive. When you look at cities like Melbourne and Sydney, these are considered amongst the most expensive cities across the entire world. So yes, it's a very expensive place. How much would you be spending? As an Indian, you might just be spending somewhere around 6 to 10 lakh Indian rupees on your living alone. How much is your college fees? It actually depends. which college you end up in, but you can take it from me, it is somewhere between 16 till 30 lakh rupees depending on the college. The better the university, the higher would be the fee. The lower the university, lower would be the fee. Now let's talk about citizenship, PR and post-study work visa. Let's first talk about post-study work visa. When we talk about post-study work visa in Australia, you need to understand that the current situation, it's getting better. Why? Because in cities, you used to get 2 years of post-study work visa, like Melbourne, Sydney, Canberra. These are considered as the most hotspot cities. In these cities, you used to get 2 years of work visa. But then a smaller city, slightly regional city like Adelaide, Brisbane, and in those places you used to get 3 years of post-study work visa after your education. And if you used to go to a very regional area like Gold Coast, Tasmania, you ended up getting 4 years of post-study work visa. But now what is happening in Australia? There is shortage of skilled labor in Australia. As a result, they are increasing 1 year post-study work visa for everyone. That means that the job opportunities coming in Australia are hard. Now when we talk about job opportunities, we need to understand that Australia has amongst the lowest unemployment rate across the world. It goes ahead and beats Germany, Italy, Canada, Norway, United States, all these countries. Australia has a better employment rate. And when we talk about the salaries that you earn in Australia, that's in general higher. Why? Because the expenses that you have in Australia are also very high. Now coming to the thing which I wanted to tell you guys. When we talk about Australian education, you need to know one thing, that all the universities are somewhat looking for international students. Now when these universities are looking for international students, they go ahead and do collaborations with people in India, and any counselor that you meet will have some sort of a tie-up with these Australian universities. Now why should you be aware of this, and why do these universities not tell you? Is because if you got to know the amount of money that they make off every student, you will never go to that counselor. Now this is something that you should know. And is it a bad thing that these counselors are making money off you? It's not. I don't feel like it's wrong, but it is a bad thing if you do not know it. So all I'm trying to tell you is that any counselor that you meet, they will have a tie-up with these universities. What does that tie-up mean? That if they send you to this university, they'll get a commission out of it. Now, what should you know? Like, if you already know this, what should you be aware of? You should be aware of that the lower the university, the higher would be the commission. The better the university, the lower would be the commission. So these counselors, these agents are incentivized to send you to a lower end university. So if anyone ever tells you that no, do not go to this university, your profile is not that good, please take a step back. It's your hard-earned money. Do not waste it on a lower-end university. You deserve to go to the best university. And since you're an international student, trust me, getting into a better university is not that tough. Maybe getting into University of Melbourne would be tough. University of Monash might not be that tough. Trust me, take my word for it. So that is something you need to know. Now, one thing I can do is I would have left a form in the description. I'm not guaranteeing this, but I'll try my level best to reach out to as many people as I can, which I feel like are genuine cases, and help them with their admission. Now, please do not come back and say, Murad, I've filled it, please help me with it. I'll only be helping very genuine cases. If I feel like, okay, this person needs help, only in that scenario I'll be going ahead and helping them. Otherwise, all I'll be doing is spreading all the information on this channel, busting all the lies on this channel. So yes, please do subscribe. And one more thing that you can do is text me on Instagram and tell me how I can improve these videos. What else should I include in these videos? And if there is any other topic you want me to make a video on, you can tell me that in the comment section. And as I already told you that I am making a playlist on every country, so you can watch that playlist from here. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck.